We are back here with Dignitas versus Team 8 for game number 3. And the first series between NA and EU, I'm pumped that we're getting to game 3.
I'm very excited as well, especially with the performance, on the comfortability heroes that we saw in the last game, because we know comfort is such a huge tool for Team 8, that they were successful against a European team. I think that's really good for showing, not only just North America versus Europe, but even just the entire tournament. We have debatably one of the most competitive tournaments, at least so far, we've ever had in all of Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, and Team 8, they said they're using Dignitas as sort of a proving ground to work out where they stand. Right now, when they're on their map with their heroes, they stand pretty good. So I'm super excited to see what the third map's going to be.
But how good are they? That's the thing, is like somehow Team 8, when people saw this team, they said Team 8 for a reason. Except somehow they're here. They've done very well in North America. They've taken a game off Dignitas, who, like you said, I don't expect them to take a single map. And now you're wondering, like, you've got to be thinking, if you're Dignitas, like, man, what do we ban out against them? Like, it's got to be Zeratul, but then what?
Yeah, I mean, Zeratul, in game 1, if we look at game number 1, they first picked Ragnaros. And I think that was really good because Prismaticism, again, he's also similar to Glaurung, where if he gets one of those heroes, he's far more volatile. Yes, he's good on more heroes than some, but overall, going into game 3, I agree, right? Zeratul seems like a clear ban, but maybe they opt to go for one of those maps where Zeratul isn't as much of a threat. Dread, you were saying Tomb of the Spider Queens might not be as much of a situation where they need to ban Zeratul if they opt to go to that map.
Yeah, that would be probably one of the better ones. That being said, I don't think I look at any map as a no Zeratul zone. It's just like a far less appealing, less complementary to the play style. So it does come down to a weird middle ground of rather would Dignitas be so worried about that they aren't even going to risk going to the map pick, that they'll just go first pick and just ban it out right out the gates, or making that adjustment. It's all about how they feel in this situation, which for right now has got to be a little shaken, I feel like, with the confidence they had.
Yeah, well, let's find out. Let's go into the map draft here for game number 3 in this series to see what map these teams will decide on.
We talked about Battlegrounds, I think, a little bit beforehand, and we talked about sometimes they tend to have similar win rates on some of these. Towers of Doom might be the other option. Do you think that might be something that we would see? That's actually Dignitas'.
Oh, my goodness.
Dignitas, consistently inconsistent on this map. They've shown either some of the best map control in the game in this map, or they have been just danced around entirely.
Dread, how does Zeratul do on this map?
Really good.
How does Medivh do on this map?
Really good. Yeah, see, that's why it's so weird to me, is it meets the two heroes that they're afraid of for Glaurung. And the last thing they want to do is commit both bans purely on the idea that this player is so good on these heroes that we can't do it. Anytime you do that, arguably, you've lost the draft.
One hero that we haven't talked about yet that Glaurung tended to pick up around qualifiers for HGC was Dahaka. We haven't seen Dahaka.
That's true.
This is a good Dahaka backup. So if there's a backup hero, it actually fits right into what he likes to do.
Again to the map. Glaurung is far more successful when it comes to his hero pool on big maps, which is why I've been so amazed that Dig was comfortable on both times taking him to a big map, which is why I thought we would see, that Dragonshire is banned, again, because it's so crippling to the playstyle of Team 8 over and over again, so that we didn't go to Tomb, even though not so much as anymore, was the most popular map for some time in Europe. It's just crazy to not go to the comfort and the disabling of North America.
It is very strange. It seems like something the Dignitas have been known to go to this map if they feel confident in their map control. And they've shown in the first game that if they do control the map, it works. And of course, the bottom pushing style can be extremely effective. But let's have a look at the bans to begin with. And Dignitas banning second, so we won't find out if we get that Insta-Zeratul, Insta-Medivh ban to start with.
I like this a lot out of Team 8 because they just don't want to have to think about that.
Snitch is a...
Wait.
They let it through. Which one's going to be picked? Rag. Okay, neither. So if they pick Dignitas picks Zeratul, Dig can play Zeratul.
Well, this is going fast.
There's no way they give this up, right?
They gotta. They
have to pick Zeratul in this transition.
In order for this to make sense, we're not saying that they are forced to via the rules here. In order for this to make sense in our heads, Dignitas should pick Zeratul here, and it's absurd on this map. It's going to give them some amazing control. It can duel with Rag pretty well, and it also denies one of the heroes that combos with Rag.
I'm sorry for my lack of words right now. I'm genuinely trying to... Because if they do not go in that transition, they can't remove one or the other. All right, Glaurung's got one of his heroes that they're going to be afraid of. Does Team 8 even risk making it past the second ban phase?
This is going to sound crazy, but another hero that he's liked to play on this map in the past, and he has played during the season, is Illidan. And I know that sounds crazy.
Not like this.
JL.
That's how I feel about
Don't
that.
you dare.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, and you are right. He was known for his Illidan in the past on some of the larger maps, absolutely terrifying. That being said, the hunt, divey, kind of global-esque playstyle, I would rather him on Dahaka if that's what they're going to be aiming for. There it is.
There it is.
It's locked in.
It's happening, boys.
It's happening is about the best way to put it. Conveniently enough, you know, you got Justin there. I don't know if you watched any of his interviews, but he's got a beautiful Ron Paul wall in his back behind him. And so that's the only thing. It's happening. Yeah, it is. Justin's pretty stoked right now, and so is his wall.
We're seeing a Muradin as well, and you mentioned this during one of the breaks, just how effective the Muradin can be over the Varian. We like the Varian. We like the Varian a lot, but the Muradin can follow the Zeratul where a Varian cannot in terms of diving into those stages.
Yeah. It's actually, it's kind of like a little bit of with the Tyrael, you know, being able to follow up with your melee is half the reason they're so terrifying. It's like getting that double threat onto a hero is very, very, very solid. So what, they knew something like this was coming. What is their answer? Is it like a Medivh of their own? Is that their counter response, putting Snitch?
Done it.
It could be.
I just want to say I do like the idea of the Leaming ban over a support ban. A lot of teams, it might make more sense to go for a support ban, but Buds is very flexible in that role, so you're not really gaining much value. However, taking that Leaming away from Yoda does have a lot of value.
All right, so now for teammate, going with the ban, what are they afraid of? Is it going to be the ETC, or are they going to let it through? Abathur is going to be the remove there.
They're really just worried about the global.
Well, also, I mean, Dignitas, when it comes to the Abathur, they've shown it in the past. Week number 1, they ended up picking it up onto this map. So
and he's been buffed since.
Yeah, he got a couple of changes there when it came to his Q and his W.
Okay.
But then we get the Tyrael Tracer for Dig.
So Zarya potentially as a last pick for them, or something along those lines.
Tracer with Zeratul is super scary for both players.
Yep.
And
That's
more
gonna
for
be a micro
Tracer.
fight.
I mean, think about it. You've got Vorpal, you've got Seeker, you've got all these ways that Glaurung can destroy low health heroes. He's got 2 potential there.
No, you're right. It is a skill matchup, essentially what it comes down to. The threat exists on both sides. The question is, who has the better outplay, really? You know, who's going to be able to get the mobility outplay with Vorpal, with the, recall. Teammate now on their last 2 picks here, looking for those backliners with the Leaming taken away.
The last time that Dignitas played this map, they had Ragnaros for that 5th slot, but this is their exact same draft. Malf, Tyrael, Jaina, Tracer.
I think Medivh or Zarya would still fit in quite well as their last thing, an extra bit of protection for Tracer. With Zarya especially, they could get the expulsion zone.
I think Snitch is their Tracer player, though. He's also their Medivh player.
That is
Dahaka. Okay.
Yeah. I think that's why they're staying away from it. Zelia,
that would make sense.
made a name for himself last year on Tracer. That could be an option.
Has he been practicing it?
I think it'll be Zelia here on Tracer for sure.
It could be. He was, if you guys didn't see any of the EU regionals last summer, Zelia, this is kind of where he had his coming out party. He came out and he's like, hey guys, look, I'm really good on Tracer. He terrorized people. They didn't do great as a team, but him individually was a very scary player.
One thing to note when looking at the draft as well, Zeratul was let through, but the Tyrael was picked up as a pseudo response, right? It is considered both are countering each other a little bit when it comes down to it. Whoever drops the heroic first really doesn't get the value, and the other is going to nullify it. So I like to, obviously Dig's thought about letting it through, and they've made the adjustments into the draft. Obviously, we're going to have to find out whether or not it's enough, but I am very scared for Dig. It seemed like the only way teammate would win this series is the Zeratul. And after that last game, to let it get here.
Well, Dignitas does have the global advantage here, though. Dahaka will give them that flexibility and the option to be in any place, and this is an amazing battleground when it comes to Dahaka. So let's find out what's going to happen here in game number 3 as we throw it to our casters. Take it away, guys.
Well, here we go. Game number 3, our first series of official North America versus Europe. Grubby, it's been a good one. You been having fun?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, it's time to settle for once and for all. Who is better?
Period,
Europe
after this game.
Until the next game of Europe versus NA. But until then, for once and for all.
All right, well, let's get this settled here. On the far left, Team 8 will be in the blue. Watch out for Zeratul. And on the far right, in the red, it will be Team Dignitas. Now, Dignitas, I do want to talk about comps a little bit here. I like the Dahaka pickup. It's our first of the tournament, I believe. But Dahaka gives you the tools to deal with that Ragnaros wave clear and push that will be coming your way, especially the way Team 8 was playing Zeratul, where they kept peeling them off and having lanes being pushed in. Now Dahaka can deal with it and then still show up to a team fight. So I like the adjustment here from Dignitas.
Wow, Rhaegar actually ports and wants to make it down to the bottom lane. But Team8 very methodically manipulated the draft where it's a teamfight focused game. They removed Vikings, Abathur, and the vestige of global control that has not been given to Dignitas has rallied behind picking a Dahaka. A very MVP black type of Tracer pick where you take her without the support of a secondary support. No Tassadar, no Zarya there to back her up. So she's very much a kind of standard backline damage dealer. Now, it's going to be a huge contest of wills between Zelia, the star assassin player here for Dignitas, and Glarong, the star player for Team 8. He can chase her with Vorpal Blade, the level 1 talent. He can tap that button once every 15 seconds, and he can trace wherever Tracer goes, whether she teleports left, right, or all the way across the lane. He can follow her with that button and hit his cleave, his auto attack. And she's got a pretty low health pool. Tyrael's shields are not nearly to the effect of Tassadar, so this is a big burden on both of these players.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how we get to watch our teams play their star heroes. And it definitely is Tracer versus Zeratul here, because for the rest of Team 8, they don't have much lockdown except for Stormbolt for a Tracer. And again, she can just kind of dodge that with the blink.
Just did, yeah.
Yeah, Zeratul versus Tracer will be a fun matchup to watch. And of course, the other 4 supporting characters in this boy band, if you will, for the 2 teams. All right, so Mercenary Camps being grabbed. This is a very EU thing, but Team 8 is responding very well. Usually in North America, we don't see Mercenaries grabbed so early in the early game,
right,
but they have actually reacted accordingly to their opponents. We have Mercenaries pushing in the bottom lane for both teams. 3 altars are up for grabs. Team 8 will grab the one on the top left. Dignitas will grab the top right, and the bottom one actually being grabbed by Dignitas as well. Team 8 didn't have enough members here to even attempt to defend it. So Dignitas takes a slight lead here, 36-32.
Yeah, they played the opening stages of this game just ever so slightly better. They took 2 of the 3 altars. They were a bit quicker on the pumpkin camp as well. Got those goblin sappers, and it's going to give a small lead to Team Dignitas. Now, on Towers of Doom, there is no attacking the core straight on. No smorking for all you orcs out there.
Unfortunate.
No going phase. Unfortunate
I
for
love
the
the
orcs.
smork.
Yeah, it's more of a control matchup, really. And even when you get the objective, you will shoot 4 cannonballs at the opponent's core. You do core damage, but it doesn't give you experience. So winning the objective gives you a lead, but it doesn't give you a lead in the form of XP. There's no snowballing in that sense. Now hold that thought, Zelia taking a lot of damage here. The follow-up is not there yet, and Glarong pays for this attempt with his life. Murden goes down as well, and that's probably 3 kills here for Dignitas.
Yeah, heads up play by Dignitas. They put pressure on the bottom lane, but instead of chasing Yoda, because Tracer could have had that kill, they turn around and get ready for the rotation that's happening from Team 8. Team 8 is very good at when they make a call, they consistently run down to help each other out. Dignitas, noticing that, set up a huge concave area, also put a scouting drone on the bottom right so they could isolate Zeratul, and got 2 kills out of it. Solid play by them.
All right, that's a pretty big lead. They get a full level. They start working on the Sapper Camp again. Remember those timings? Dignitas was a little bit faster. The other Sapper Camp has now become available.
And Ragnaros needs to make a play here now. You can either rotate down or continue pushing top. The problem is the burden of the defense is on Team 8, as Dahaka, again, can float between any lane as he would like with that Brush Stalker. So watch for Ragnaros. In fact, he's making a safe rotation down to the middle lane and bottom lane. Team 8 needs to play a bit aggressive here because they don't want to allow Dahaka to sit in top lane for too long. But Justin is being focused down, and that's a dead dwarf.
Yeah, that looks pretty bad. His death was about 5 seconds in the making. They're going to use Ragnaros to interrupt the capture of the tower. That will last for about 15 seconds or so. So Murden will almost just be back. So maybe there's still a chance for Team 8 to reconquer this.
Meanwhile, Dignitas grabs the Mercenaries to continue putting pressure on that bottom lane. Team 8 will have to defend it, or suddenly that bell tower will be low on health. Zeratul has gone to the top lane to deal with the pressure from Dahaka, so eventually they're gonna just have to forfeit this altar. They finally do. Dignitas getting a few more shots onto that core, 36-28. And this is looking very reminiscent of game number 1, where Dignitas just seemed to have much better control of the battleground.
Yeah, definitely. They're calling all the shots here. We have that level 10 here with Void Prison and Sulfurous Smash, which could be pretty great for Team 8, but they need to be not too far behind by the time they get there.
And for Dignitas fans out there, Dignitas is well equipped here to actually defend against that push coming their way, that Void Prison and Sulfurous Smash. One, because at 13 you have Ice Block on Malfurion, compared to where Rhaegar did not, as he was the main focus the last time. So Dignitas in a much better spot to actually deal with that combo.
And
Tracer
of course,
can link out.
number 2, Sanctification. It's going to be a great way to deal with that. Bolts have been difficult, very mobile heroes here on Dignitas, lots of teleportations. Murden is not getting the same effect as before.
Gonna have to watch and see how that layer pressure from teammate can hit at level 10, but Dignitas is that much closer to 10. They are half a level away, grabbing Mercenaries, continuing to keep his bottom lane under control. Dahaka, sit up top lane, do what you gotta do, man. If you want to sneak a Mercenary camp, sure. If you want to push lane, sure. We'll hold the bottom lane down and make sure we never lose Mercenaries. So Dignitas in full control of the map flow of the battleground.
Yeah, they're gonna get the fort now with the without the sapper camp actually, which means this represents 3 core shots. If those little sapper pumpkin guys walk over this blue tower line, that is core damage, and they're gonna try and do that and do it again, getting that second sapper camp there. So they need to make sure they push the lane. Here we go. Here's the attempt to get bonus damage. Nice cleanse, but can they hold this?
They're attempting to do so, applying pressure onto these Mercenaries and the minion wave, just desperately wanting level 10 for themselves. But Dignitas in great control. This is a very EU thing to do. Put a few people on the bottom, you take a bell tower, force your opponents to respond to you, continue pushing with your Mercenaries, and now Dahaka and one more member can peel off and head towards the altars to grab shots. There is so much pressure in this bottom lane that now suddenly teammates trying to make a play in the top left and the top right. Can they make it happen? They're chasing Snitch away, but Snitch on Dahaka with that essence, it's hard to kill him.
Yeah, exactly. Nice time-buying technique here, though, by Team 8. Actually getting one of their own altars is impressive under the circumstances, because they only had a few seconds to clear the sappers and make it up there. And they decided, they saw fit to do that with just 3 members, the defense.
wow.
A very try-hard Void Prison here on Dahaka. He's got a number of escapes. I'm not sure that's a good idea.
Oh, and even grabbing the drag point. Ragnaros behind the fort. He's taking the shots here. Justin trying to help out, but Snitch in a 1v3 gets a takedown, brings out the B step. Glaurung is on the bottom right side. Zelia going aggressive here as well, chasing down Murden, and now the boss is up for grabs.
1 versus 3. My face when that happens is a B step. I mean, Snitch getting a little bit cheeky with them there, as we had a likewise gesture last game on Battlefield of Eternity by Team 8. So definitely justified under the circumstances. And that's a boss after a 1v3 kill here.
Scary stuff here for Team 8, but let's start thinking about the possibility of them making a comeback. They are at level 10 now.
Sure.
Void Prison will be back up in 40 seconds. Next altar phase will be important. The 3 altar phases is where I think they make their play. They need to sacrifice 1 for sure. But find a way to contain Dahaka, but also hold off on them grabbing 2 altars and then have a proper rotation. Will that occur? We'll have to see, but Team 8, after this next altar phase, is going to have an aggressive play they need to make.
Okay, I mean, we've got a 5-second window here for Team 8 to force a talent equal fight, and that's rapidly dwindling. Level 13 is all but reached. So what can Team 8 do here? They can try to fight over just one of the altars, do an aggressive zoning out. Void Prison's about 10 seconds away. The objective, 8.
They have Molten Core to delay.
Dahaka, though, he's pushing in the fort, and if we look at the amount of damage he's doing, it doesn't represent the fort death yet, so not too much of a worry for Team 8. Nice blocking by JPL. They get that shot already.
Yeah, that was a great play, actually, because Ragnaros didn't go into Molten Core, assuming that Justin would get that. And suddenly that slight delay allowed for Dignitas to grab the top altar. Now the bottom one is up for contention, but Dignitas is in the middle. They're up a talent here. They are in a situation where they can be carefree. They're floating around, just don't have to overstep. A big drag hits. Buds is able to escape, though, as Snitch looking for more aggression. And Dahaka coming in.
Meteor will cancel that, and here goes the Odin. This is one of those fights where you need to make a stand. Zeratul does a bit of damage, and we have got Tracer pretty low. Void Prison's available, and that breaks all the rules. Remember, nice zoning out here. Bud's trying to capture it. JPL, though, he gets it. Burn it.
The Ancestral!
Wow!
Void Prison coming out. There's Blizzard on the right side. No, the Odin is supposed to working out at the same time. Suddenly, Zeratul picked off 25 seconds and he won't be available. Snitch chasing here. Popping the Dark Swarm. Zelia on the right side, full on health at the same time. Now, Tyrael did fall, so it is a 4v4, but still.
Yeah, it's a 1-for-1, not too bad considering there were a talent and a level down Team 8 here, and the fight is still going on. Chances are there. That's a pretty big Twilight Dream into Ring of Frost. So much damage. Ragnaros goes down. Bud's being pressured. Zelia finishes him, and this is a wipeout here. Zelia is not gonna let Yoda get away.
Especially with Jaina there helping with the slowdown, and Dignitas won't take the reward of another takedown. There we go, finally securing it there. An auto attack from Jaina, which you don't normally see, but still a pickup for Dignitas. And they still have an Ultra in the bottom, but they're electing to choose to push in the bell tower, get mercenary camps to control this space, force Team 8 to keep coming to them.
You remember that patch long time ago when auto attacks from mages still did significant damage?
Oh, back in the day.
Now it's like slightly more than a Morales auto attack. But you know what? Every little bit helps, and good mechanics, you will weave in auto attacks, be you a Morales or be you a Jaina Trickster, and it's gonna be the final damage now. Still, I'm reeling from that last fight there, that Void Prison into Sephora Smash, which did not fail even a single time on Battlefield of Eternity in the hands of Team 8. This time did, and why? It's because Mene and Zelia were pressuring Zeratul. He had so much to worry about in his own survival, and he did indeed die, that his Void Prison cancel was not on time. And in fact, I would say, knowing that, you should probably hold Sephora Smash until the very end duration of the VP. I would not say that's per se Zeratul's fault. He was too pressured.
Yeah, count on that 5 seconds to make sure to set it up. It is still a set duration on that point. Just wait for it to expire. Dignitas now at 16, 2-14 of their opponents, 33-11. Team 8 has to start mounting a comeback now, or obviously they're going to fall down into the double elimination bracket, into the losers bracket. Mercenary camps are pushing in the bottom, but Dahaka in the top continues to reign king. And this is where it's very hard to deal with that pressure, especially when your opponents are ahead. Zelia just getting locked down, so Fierce comes out, but the recall will save Zelia. Glaurung low on health, Sanctification pop at the same time. Here's Ring of Frost, and suddenly Prismatic falls. Ragnaros is not available anymore.
There was so much potential there in the fight for Team 8, but here we go with the Dahaka drag. Oh, the Entangle will root this dwarf back to the ground. And he's going to get his head lopped off here by the members of Dignitas. That's a 3-kill. They're moving on to the 4th. And you know what? Boss is coming up in just seconds, which represents another 4 cannon shots.
Yep, control swings over to Dignitas once again. Here's the bell tower. So the next ultra that comes up, they could get 5-3. What do you do here as Dignitas? Do you go ahead and push in the middle lane? Do you make a play for the boss? None, actually, as ultra suddenly activate.
The answer has been granted, as from above. It's fated. The triple autos come up in just 18 seconds. They'll be fought over.
They're actually going for it.
Wow.
They're forcing Team 8 to come fight them. Ragnaros is available up in the top left. Rhaegar is on his way, and so is Muradin. But 5v4 available for Dignitas. Aggressive play here. Tracer will recall. Zelia putting too much front pressure.
Cleanse and Sephora Smash have been taken out for what? The adaptation. And that's about it. That's a great trade. Snitch, he made that happen there with his Dahaka. That's 5 cannon shots. And everything comes down to these final 2 points here. Can Yoda capture this? Will JPL cancel it? No.
They get it.
They secure it. And now they need to get the heck out of dodge, get level 16, and mount a last-ditch effort, Trickster.
Heads up play by Team 8 as they just hold here for a little bit longer. Muradin grabbing the ultra in the bottom of that 3 ultra phase. They get 2 out of them, but not many shots, but they still survive here. Now they have to deal with the constant pressure of Mercenaries pushing the bottom left and the bottom right, and Snitch will just rotate between the middle and the top lane, moving towards level 20, but also maybe getting forward slow. This is a very dire situation for Team 8.
Yeah, I mean, this is tough. They have to defend Sappers. Dignitas is in full control. Dahaka, with 17,000 experience donated to the team, has almost double of anyone else in the game. Now, this is where Team 8 makes their stand. Void Prison into Sephora Smash is good. Sanctification has enough time to come out. Dignitas gratefully makes use of that Sanctification, mounts the counterattack, put the pressure on Muradin. He gets the Ancestral, he goes back in. They go for Snitch. Snitch Jaina goes down. This is a good fight by Team 8.
Yeah, they're doing great here. Glarong and the rest of the team did a great job of baiting the wombo combo from Dignitas. The Sanctification, the Ring of Frost, they peeled out just nicely. And then Justin with the Ancestor Healing got the opportunity to chase. And that allowed Glarong to help secure the kill. This is where they start to grab map control, grab mercenaries, get everything off the map, and then start taking bell towers back. If they can get the bottom left bell tower and the bottom right, they open up the map for themselves. And all they have to do is start containing Dahaka at that point. 16 to 18 in experience. Slightly close. Another pick would be wonderful. However, Bakery will be dodging that Storm Ball, and Team 8 is kind of spreading out, maybe panicking a little bit too much, in my opinion, in terms of actually getting set up for control. But they finally get it underhand here. They get murdered on the bottom. They got Zeratul on the top to defend, and they finally take the bell tower in the bottom left.
Now, whatever happens, Trixler, I feel like Team 8 and North America, despite all expectations by both the European teams and perhaps the fans and the pundits, have earned the right to stand straight and tall and proud that they have done this well so far. They're 1-1 with Team Dignitas, granted the third best European team, but with an immense amount of international experience, and they are taking them here to a pretty close game. They have struggled so far, but it's 1-1, and they're mounting their counter defense. Let's see what they can do here in the next fight. Glarong, he's sharking back in from the top, but can there be enough time? Butts gets taken out. This is disaster.
So unfortunate. Big Sulfur Smash coming out, Sanctification being used up, 4 to 5. Zeratul in the back right. They have to kill someone now or they lose the game. They know it, so they're going for it. Locking down JPL, but Dignitas easily takes his team fight. Void Prison will come out as Glarong and Yoda attempt to burn down Snitch, and they have to fight. They know what they're looking for, but there's no room to even move an inch. Dignitas, with the last altar, will grab this game and win the series 2-1. GG. Indeed here, EU beats North America.
Yeah, Dignitas does what was expected of them. They won the series, but they said they'd be surprised if they dropped the map. They did. They have gotten a wake-up call here, just like Misfits in that first series. And we have learned here, Trixie, at this HGC Western Clash, assumptions have no place. All expectations have been shook up.
Yes, you need to be on your A game. There is no slacking here at the Western Clash. Everyone is here to prove that they deserve to be here. And, you know, we talked about it. Glarong and the rest of his crew didn't mention in interviews, hey, we're just trying to figure out if we belong. And I would say, yes, you do belong. Some things to work on, obviously. Maybe some composure issues overall, and maybe some drafting that could be working out for them. But still, great showing by the North American team for Team 8. Now, they still have a chance, obviously, going to the loser round. But Dignitas moves forward here, and rightfully so.
Team 8 said that they are happy that this is a double elimination bracket. They went in hopefully, but they did realize that sometimes they need a bit of action, a bit of punishment until they can kick it up and gear it up into overdrive. They sometimes fall down first, and then they kind of toughen up and make it through the loser bracket. Let's see what they can do there.
Yeah, they'll be facing off against Nomia, which is, again, a matchup that I'm excited to watch, especially what we've seen already today. Our first two matches, our first 4 teams have been splendid, but let's find out what we get to hear from Red Eye at the hosting desk.
Thanks very much. Yes, with Bakery, first of all, congrats. It's a win. It's perhaps not the win that you thought you might get. Yesterday, I'm going to tease you a little bit to start with, because you and I know each other a little bit. You said to me yesterday, if NA get one map from us in the entire tournament, I'll be surprised. Come on, tell me.
Well, I was pretty surprised, actually. They played a really good comp around Zeratul. It's something that we hadn't really dealt with before, and Glarong obviously played it really, really well. So yeah, we lost that game. The other 2 games, pretty convincing in our favor. So overall, we're pretty happy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a transitional phase for Dignitas. I keep hearing this phrase from both you and a lot of other people around the team. Brought in a new coach, obviously had a nice boot camp, learning some new things with a new player who's changed the role as well. How is it all going, in your opinion? Are you on the right road?
Yeah, I think it's still very much a learning experience for us. I think we've never played at LAN with this shot calling setup and with this lineup. And there's a lot of new things that we have to learn, like just in terms of how our communication works and also how we draft. So we're working our way through that. Obviously, Dunk Train, our new coach, is helping us a lot with that. And we're feeling pretty good that by the end of this tournament, we're going to be a really elite team.
And in terms of, I just want to pick up on the second map because you often learn more from defeat than you do from winning. Were there just too many mistakes from everyone in that game? Or how did you view it? I know they played very well, Team. I don't want to take anything away from them, but how do you analyze it from your point of view?
The way that I saw that game was that they had a strategy in mind, and they definitely practiced it a lot, and they executed it very well. It felt very hard for us to do much against that strategy with the draft that we had, but there were definitely worse steps. I think what we should have been able to do is force much harder. We should have used the ultimates to force in, and then try and take the fight from there. But we didn't do that in the game, so.
And just overall, HGC Western Clash, first time you guys get to come out in the new year, show what you've got, and obviously it is early days in this whole rebuilding phase, but there's a certain expectation for Team Dignitas in particular in Heroes to come to LAN and do well. Do you feel that still here, or is it a totally different feeling for you?
I definitely still feel that sensation. It's not so much pressure, because for me, I like that. That's what I want. That's what drives me. And it really does feel amazing to come back here after winning last year. Like, there's actually a poster up there on the wall of us winning. It's actually felt amazing to see. And we're really hoping to replicate that this year.
You have your own little bakery fan club down here as well. They seem to be supporting everything you do. Doesn't matter, I saw you... Just keep this quiet. I saw you make a little mistake in game 2. They were like, cheering bakery anyway.
Yeah, I want to give a huge shout out to all the fans here today. You guys are amazing. Thanks a lot.
Well done. Congratulations on the win. We'll see you in the semi-final of the upper bracket. Let's find out whether analysts made of that one.
You know, the first thing I'd say about that game is just outplayed. Snitch.
Snitch. Yeah. Just straight up the whole game. It started from the bait up on top, which, by the way, probably the best B step I've ever seen.
The most appropriate, definitely.
Yeah, especially with the Haka's animation. It's crazy awesome.
And he was so terrifying with the B-step. Glad was like, what do I do? Do I hurt? Do I leave?
Do I attack him? Do I go in?
But then beyond that, more like with the boss play, getting the bait, even buying a couple of heroics in the process, and then negating the experience split soaking that we know Zeratul wants to be able to make happen. I think Snitch single-handedly, not only with the pick, but then how he played it was why that game was so controlled on the side of Dig.
He makes their team work. I've said it so many times. I tweeted out about it not too long ago. 13 heroes in 25 games leading up to this. He will play anything. It's not just a matter of like how big is your hero pool. It's how good are you on the heroes that you play. He's damn good on a lot of heroes. That's what is so crazy about their team is that they can do whatever they want, and Snitch will be like, don't worry, I'll fill.
There's
anything.
There's very few people in the scene who I would say are like that. Another one I would say is one of the teams we're playing, commentating game number 4, which is Schwimpy.
Yeah.
Those are the only two who come to mind, but there's a couple else others scattered around. But that kind of player can give you the kind of versatility to allow a Tracer into your comp like we saw. And you mentioned how good Zaliel was when he made his name for it. He showed it again.
He did, but let's actually look at some of those moments. I mean, overall, the series was very even, but we saw some mistakes happen on the side of Teammate that did cost them quite a bit. Just moments into this, we saw a beautiful Ancestral Heal go off here. That was huge, but it went from the ultimate high to the ultimate low when that Sulfura smash crashed out.
Yeah, Zeratul was just not paying attention. He was getting harassed. He was literally not even stunned, just attacked by Zaliel and Mena and just wasn't paying attention.
It's actually a weird middle ground where the best synergy you make happen is where the Zeratul is responding to his team rather than the other way around because it forces less communication overall. But in those type of situations where Zeratul has so much pressure and he's so far away from the void, nothing really matters. You're not going to be able to get it off. And that was very well done on the side of Dignitas. Another proper response. And then even at the end there, you see, Stitch baiting out a lot of the heroics, being able to buy time for his team. Very well done and good synergy coming out from Dig, not only in that replay, but in the entire game.
Now, obviously, that was a very clear mistake, but Dre, did you see like a lot of other mistakes in there? Yes, we talked about the 3-man approach on the top 4 with the B-step.
I mean, there were a couple of small ones. I would say there were mistakes, but Dig did a probably almost perfect job of capitalizing on most of them. Every time that it did happen, they absolutely kind of punished them as thorough as you could, really. So yes, we did see a couple of those from Team 8, but overall, with how well Snitch was playing, I don't know. It's hard to lose that game.
We had a sneaky boss call in that game from Dignitas as well. Let's take a look at that.
So in this, Dignitas were already so close to winning. Glaron's not in the bush. He's hanging around, and Snitch just appears from above. Makes a perfect distraction. Makes so many heroics. He takes everything. And they just don't even pay attention. They don't even try to contest. They don't even know it's happening.
And that's tough. I mean, yeah, they're down level 16 in that situation. And yes, they're very far behind, but the fact that Glau was there, didn't think to scout it, their eyes were set on Snitch. They really wanted to get that kill top and did not expect Dignitas to go for such a greedy play on the boss.
It's one of those awkward moments where it's like the intent was obviously to move through the shrub, get the scout, but then also look for the kill. But then the time sensitivity, just you think you're in it, you aren't looking at your model exactly on whether or not it's going to make the play. But even then, Snitch like recognizing the situation, and then rather than burrowing and pulling directly back, he kind of buys the more time. He just gets the heal and then runs away, and suddenly the boss is captured, and they're like, whoop. Can't take that one back.
Full health. This is unfortunate.
Yeah, that's a little, that's not very good. So.
You know, we can also just look at the last team fight of that game to see the power of Dignitas when they're in those situations feeling good.
I think the biggest problem was Bud stepped out and just in it. Actually, this is a little bit different here in this moment, but you can see the continued push there. And, you know, they're going in. They already had Rhaegar down. He already got picked off. And at that point, they're fighting for their lives. It's pretty much a foregone conclusion. They either need to get a pick early, else they can't sustain in that without their support. And it was just a slow defeat after that moment. Bud stepped out that very first moment right before that. He stepped out, got picked, and it's all over from there. I mean, once that happened, it was pretty much done.
Justin got bodied at every single attempt he had to get out. He was just completely trapped inside the blizzard. Then he got interrupted on his jump. He got wholly grounded in. He had zero chance to regroup with his team. So instead, it just was a void prism when his team was already dead.
Yeah.
You know, when I look at that game, even though at the end of it, I have to say both of the supports played flawlessly, though.
I was absurdly impressed with Bakery. His Karazim play, after not playing it for so long, came in every palm. Like, he was absurdly patient on his palm, but beyond all else, the 2 palms he got, a half, like not even half, like a quarter second before Twilight Dream hits. Every time he's looking for what CCs can interrupt what I'm looking to make happen, and he made it effective. I mean, like, he's by far the best we've seen so far, and it shows why he was so popular back in the day whenever he got his hands on this hero. It was amazing play from him.
Well, now that we've got 2 matches done today, we can take a look at the bracket to see where everyone stands and what we've got left for today.